Yeah, just a tad early. Might as well, right? Start with the Expanse, then Rebels.
So that was the second time I was covered in shades of green. You like that?
Yeah, that's right. All right, yeah, we'll start with the Expanse, and then we'll roll into Rebels, and then we'll go from there. If you don't have any questions, I say we just do it. Do it.
How high can an elephant jump?
Pretty high.
Wrong. They cannot jump.
Yes, they can. Have you not seen Dumbo?
Dumbo flies.
He jumps off the building. Actually, I'm kind of looking forward to Tim Burton's Dumbo. Yeah, he's trying to get Danny DeVito to come in, probably play the
The mouse.
The ringmaster.
Okay, with that awesome news,
let's roll. All right, warning, spoilers ahead. Constant Collectible hereby is absolved of responsibility of any content spoiled for the viewer. That's you. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 15 of Spoil It. Tonight we are going to talk about The Expanse Season 2, Episode 7, and Star Wars Rebels Season 3, Episode 17. I'm Simon.
And I am Chad.
He is Chad, and together we like to watch things and spoil it. So let's jump into The Expanse.
Yeah, I think we both kind of said this was a little on the dull side this past one. I was hoping we would get more of a fight scene that happened, on the ground in space with the Mars Marines and whatnot. When looks like the protogen whatever man looked over her with a knife. I think you and I both have an issue with old Sergeant Draper.
Yeah.
I think she makes the Marine portions of this series dull. You kind of want to kick her in the groin. Get going. And she got kicked.
Yeah, she did. She got her beat down. I know we talked about this before. They couldn't really find an actress who could portray this character as well as it is in the book. But they found somebody who's willing to do some things, and man, I stumble with her, and it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, there's two characters in here. I've talked about them before, but this one, I don't know. It takes me out of the show. This episode was slow, but the nice thing about it is now we're introduced to a new character that is going to cause some problems for Johnson. There's a bit of a history there that you can kind of tell.
Which character are you referring to?
I am talking about the new character for the Belters. He's their spokesperson now. He is.
Oh, no. You have to recall back to season 1. That's an existing character.
Oh, that's right. He ran the crew on. Oh, that's right. I totally forgot about him.
He actually had Miller beat the crap out of.
That's right. Yeah. And it's his crew that killed the partner, right? Yeah. Yes, thank you. That makes so much more sense.
Which runs the LPA.
That's right. I totally forgot about him. He was in, he was out, now he's back. Thank you for clarifying that. That makes a lot more sense. I like where he's going though. I like what he's doing. He's going to stir some things.
Not only do I like the character, but I like the actor.
I do too. I've liked him when he had when he was in, what's that J.J. Abrams one that was on Fox with the they basically had their own watcher, Fringe. He was in that. I liked him. I liked him as Moriarty in the Sherlock Holmes movie, the second one with Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah,
and some of the other stuff that he's done. I do like his acting style, and he plays good bad guys. He really does. So I'm glad that he's in this, and I do like his style. So, yeah, so I'm kind of glad that he's in there because he's going to kind of mix things up. As we saw in this episode, he basically took the young Belter who was always, jumping on Thomas Jane's character. Yeah, and so, he kind of manipulated him in a way to basically do something for them that ended up being a distraction, stealing a ship, making it look like the group had stole it in order to get, these guys out of the way. So we know in next episode, there's basically a coup going on, especially because, is his name? Is it Fred?
Yeah, Fred Johnson.
Okay. So no, I was thinking. I'm sorry. So Fred Johnson's right-hand man, woman. Sorry, has got a connection to our OPA,
right?
Gentleman, and it seems like there's something going on. She's the other character that drives me bonkers. I think it's her voice. Oh, sorry. But yeah, there seems to be that there's going to be a coup. So I think in the next episode, it's gonna get a little interesting. It's going to get a little heavier than this episode. This episode I ended up, because typically for me, when I watch a show, But as it's going on, I'm like, well, let me check this Twitter. Let me check that, this. So I ended up doing other things while it was on because it just kept, I couldn't get anywhere. But I do like some of the Mars stuff where they were trying to figure out what had happened. And as they did this hypnosis thing to her, it
was that pill that they take when they interrogate people because their brain and their senses are all heightened, so they can see dilation of pupils. They can tell the difference in the heartbeat, the breathing, everything. And so, when they gave that to her, she started recalling more and more details about the firefight. Is that the Americans weren't bum rushing and fighting and shooting at her. They were running at her, but they were half turned around shooting at that seventh person, which was, like that protogen or whatever it was.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of neat, but the way they manipulated, it's like, no, it was the Earthlings. They were the ones that were doing this. They did this, and they kind of manipulated her to once again go with that point of view, her initial point of view.
Yeah, they wanted her to take the stance of that it was her team that fired first.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're off to Earth now to go to the peace talks to explain yourself.
So that'll be kind of good. I like that, but I think the story that I'm more interested in is, with Holden and his crew, you got to see a little, or you got to hear a little backstory from, one of the main characters, and I forget what's his name. He's the tough guy. When the little boy basically jumped out, pushed him out of the way, and was yelling at him, "Leave my mom alone," when they were handing out rations, you find out that he kind of went through a similar thing. And then he goes and talks to the scientist who basically had that procedure done, that, there's no empathy, there's no this, there's no that, just focusing on what he has in front of him. And I haven't read the books. I know you have. So I'm wondering if eventually he goes down that rabbit hole and gets it done. Because he wants to forget certain things, or he just doesn't want to care about those things. So.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that far to see something like this. So.
Okay. All right. So yeah, it's interesting. There's smaller plots that the threads are kind of pulling me in there, and then there are some stuff that's just taking me out of it. So, and part of it is the acting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a good story. I hope this is just a dull episode, and the next episode just brings it back up to what it has been. But I hope we don't really see a trend.
Right.
Yeah. So, because that'll be disappointing if we see an end where it just starts to just go downhill. Because there's so many things, you have the scientist that was introduced, not this episode, but this episode before, who wanted to get to Venus to find out some certain things. We've got these interesting storylines, but we need to get there because some of this stuff was a little dull for me. So, but it's one episode out of all the other ones, and the other ones have been actually very entertaining. So, anything you want to add to?
No, I really don't.
Yeah, it was just that kind of thing. I mean, it's interesting too because this is episode 7. The episode name is The Seventh Man, but we know it's referring to that seventh man that isn't a man. So I'm hoping our next episode will be a little bit more, and let's see, which I'm not quite sure what it's going to be about. We can only assume that we're going to get the peace talks. We're going to get a little bit more of the coup that's happening, and we'll just see what happens next. But our next one, Star Wars Rebels, which we are completely enjoying. If you didn't hear, they have renewed Star Wars Rebels for another season 4. Looks like it will come out later this year. Episode 17 is called Secret Cargo, where Hera, Zeb, and Ezra are tasked with transporting a highly valuable rebel leader away from Imperial court. But Thrawn's new TIE models prove tricky, basically, than Ghost Crew is expected. I liked this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I liked how we're tying more things into the expanded Star Wars universe that they're creating. And if you've seen it, this secret transport, this rebel leader, is none other, and I'm going to say it, I'm going to butcher it because I like to call her Mothra, but Mon Mothma, and I love how she basically is telling us that she can no longer do any good in the Senate, and that she needs to stand up just like these little factions are standing up,
right,
and try and unite all of them, which is what we get to also see part of in Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
I dig this. I like where this is going. I'm also liking where you're starting to see the team kind of go in different directions.
Yes. And we talked about that before, not only on the show, but, privately between text messages and, off air, still talking here. But, we gave our speculations months ago about what would happen to the crew because of what we saw in Rogue One. Obviously, Hera stays with, the Rebel Alliance. Chopper stays because we saw Chopper in the movie. Her name is mentioned over a loudspeaker in the movie. We don't know what's going to happen to poor old Zeb, basically because he's a hard character to do on the big screen. He had to be full CGI. We kind of guessed about Sabine, that she would possibly go back to the Mandalorians. We didn't really determine any opinions about Kanan and Ezra. What would transpire there. Of course, there's all the other rumors that are running around that Benicio del Toro might be Ezra in the upcoming movie. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on that I think will transpire through season 4, which when they do seasons, it's awesome. They do so many episodes within these seasons. They're not really short, so we get a lot of material. And of course, this episode was great. We saw once again the TIE Defender, one of my favorite TIEs. We saw the brilliance behind Thrawn, how he just examines all the different angles. He knew what was going to transpire. He knew where they were going to go to run. Unfortunately, the trap that he sent the governess on didn't work. But we're seeing more and more of these, you could call them Easter eggs, but these characters being brought out into Star Wars Rebels. Of course, this one being Mon Mothma, Mothra, as you put it. The other one, and I'm not sure if you saw this or not, but the other Y-wing pilot.
Yes, that's right. Gold Leader, right? Yeah, that was actually kind of cool, and they drew him much better.
Yes,
because her face was bothering me. I don't know if it was the size of her eyes or what it was, but
her head was too big because she has a very thin face.
Yeah, and it was bugging me a little bit, but I really enjoyed the story and what they were trying to do.
She fit more into a Thunderbirds episode or movie.
Yes.
Yeah,
she almost did look like a marionette that she should have been. Yeah, that nails it for me. Yeah, but I liked the story
brilliantly with the eyes and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. You brought up the tie. They had alluded to this in an earlier episode, the secret TIE fighter that they're working on, and now you got to see it. It's a fun ship to use and play when you're playing X-Wing. I'm not an imp guy, but it is a pretty neat, nifty little ship because it does have some shields, unlike most TIE fighters that really don't. They're just built for speed. And it was really neat to see it on the screen.
Yeah.
So
it has high firepower. It's got the hyperdrive. It's got all kind of stuff to it, missiles and stuff. So yeah, it's an interesting ship and something that was originally in the old canon was brought out much later in the timeline. It wasn't something that was developed right now. So it's interesting that they're actually bringing this in this early.
Yeah, exactly. It was kind of neat because, like I've said before, I was like, I watched this with my daughter, and so as we're watching it, and all of a sudden it just comes on the screen. She's like, "Oh my gosh, Dad, that is so cool! Is that a TIE fighter?" And we just kind of had a chit chat about that. And she's like, "That is really neat looking," and it really is neat looking. And it is a cool little ship. So it's kind of neat that they are, tying in, they're bringing in, they're really trying to streamline all of this, and I think they're doing a fabulous job with it. I look forward to what we get left in the next 3 episodes, because then that's it, and then we wait a couple of months. Most likely, like we did last Celebration, we'll get a little preview of what we're to expect for season 4. I'm sure they've got some sizzle reel for us. But we've got 3 episodes left. There's Double Agent Droid, which basically Chopper and AP5 go on an adventure. Then we have Twin Sons with Kenobi coming back, which I cannot wait for. That one I'm just like, yes. And then there's the last episode, 0 Hour. I have a feeling 0 Hour will be, an extended episode. I have, there just feels like they're doing so much in that one that, maybe that's a 40-minute episode, so basically an hour on TV because of commercials. So, but Twin Sons, that's the one I'm looking for. I think that we're going to see the end of Maul finally. We're going to be done with him. And then we get a little Kenobi action. He might kind of, tell us a little story, give us a little information. Who knows? But we'll see what happens. But man,
this episode had some highs and lows to it, to be honest. I mean, when you think about the ion cannon on the Y-wing, the ion cannon shouldn't be able to take out a Star Destroyer's shields with 1 or 2 shots. And that being the low point for the episode for me. The high point, well, actually there's several high points, but one of the high points that we haven't talked about was the fact that when she sent out that moving speech to all the different rebel cells, and they're above Dantooine, which is where they are, earlier before A New Hope. because that's where Princess Leia says that they are. They're on Dantooine, but they obviously moved before them. But they're above Dantooine, and all of a sudden, all the ships start coming in out of hyperspace. It just looks really cool. You see the Hammerhead come in, and of course, several. It looks like you see Home One actually show up. Akbar's ship. You see the medical frigate kind of come in too. So there's a lot of cool stuff that happens. I love how they used, the TIE Defender. So it was such a brilliant show this past week. I really loved it. A lot of good action. Not all the characters were there, which was good. I think if you have too many of the characters there, it kind of takes away from the storyline because everyone's having to have a dialogue here and there. So
yeah,
great episode.
Yeah, I agree. It was fun. It was neat seeing the ships come in. I think it was Dave Filoni who basically said, yeah, we kind of wanted to do something like that, like we had done in Rogue One. He says there's a few more ships that they would have liked to have added to that, but they just didn't have the time to do it. I'm liking what they're doing. I enjoy it. I'm a little bummed there's only 3 episodes left, but I think most likely my guess is the last 2 episodes will be fantastic.
Yeah.
So I know we have 3, but I think the last 2 will be fantastic.
Yeah. I concur.
Yeah. So, cause we're just building and building. And who knows what else, we may see. I'm just excited to get Kenobi. He's one of my favorites. So we shall see. So anything else you want to add?
No, I think we covered it. We spoil it, but we don't spoil it too much, which is what I like. So
I think so too. I think so too. Well, Chad, where can everybody find you then?
You can find me on Twitter at ChadGriffin12, over on Instagram at DJ Kilt, over on Facebook at Chad Goodwin, and of course on our website, ConstantCollectible.com. You can email me at goodygoodwin@ConstantCollectible.com.
Right on. And I'm Simon. You can find me on Twitter at C_collectible, Instagram, C_collectible, of course, the website, ConstantCollectible.com. And our email, if you choose to reach out to us, is ConstantCollectible@gmail.com. We are live every Thursday night after the show, and our website is ConstantCollectible.com. We will be back next week to spoil more of The Expanse and Star Wars Rebels, and hope to see you there. Talk to you soon.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.